You know, some Spurs fans, I wouldn't mind us being able to draft both those guys. Could happen, right? No? All right.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. By the way, if you're not aware, that is Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson, who are probably going to go number 1 and 2 respectively in this coming NBA draft. I wanted to do a midseason report card to talk about our Spurs, talk about each player, show their. We're going to bring up their stats and show how they played throughout the year, and just kind of get some feedback from you guys. What do you think on the season so far? Drop a comment down below. What do you like about this year? What you don't like? Hit that thumbs up if you like support a fellow Spurs fan, and subscribe for more Spurs content. So let's get into it. Our San Antonio Spurs are 13 and 28, and right now they would have the 4th overall pick. And I have accepted this is a lottery team and a high pick lottery team, probably top 4. But what I want to see is compete, which we have been especially lately, and see growth from our players, which we have been doing. As far as grading the individual players, it's going to be very performance based, but also expectation based. If a player is exceeding the expectations, then they're going to get a better grade from me, and this will be in alphabetical order. Without any further ado, let's get into, I don't know why he came up first, our report card. Charles Bassey. For a guy coming to the Spurs via a two-way contract, he has been a pleasant surprise. He's been inconsistent, but overall, he's a great rebounder. And when he blocks shots, I love the way Charles Bassey blocks shots. He just doesn't hit the ball and stop the shot. He takes that thing, poof, get it out of here. And I love that. I'm going to give him a B plus, and I think the Spurs are going to sign him to probably a few year more of a long term contract, convert that two-way to an NBA contract if they have roster room. Um, yeah, so far, pretty impressed with Charles Bassey. Up next, KBDDDDDDDD. Keita Bates-Diop is a role player who's going to have the occasional good to great game, but he's been very inconsistent. If you look at his stats for the season, you're like, yeah, he's shooting 52%, 37% from the arc, 81% from the charity stripe, 7.5 points in 18 minutes. Yeah, pretty solid, but a lot of that's offset by great games here, doesn't show up here, a good game here, doesn't show up there, and overall, I'm giving KBD a B minus. He's a role player and a very good role player, but I don't think he's ever going to be more than that for the San Antonio Spurs or in the NBA in general. But he's found a niche, and it's working out for him. All right, the first of our 3 rookie draft picks from last year's draft now, Malachi Branham. I like what I'm seeing from Malachi. I know you look at his shooting percentages of 42%, not great. 30% from the arc is not terrific, but we're seeing growth throughout the season. He was very hesitant early on in the year. His minutes are going up. He's being more aggressive with his shots, just letting them fly. He's been running point guard at times and doing, I thought, fairly well. His defense has improved, and he's showing us the ability to be a 3-level scorer in the NBA. Give Malachi Branham a B+. And if he continues to improve throughout the season, he can really, maybe he'll be the 6th man for the Spurs off the bench. Don't know what his role will be in the future. A starter. There's a lot of guys ahead of him right now that have that spot. Overall, I'm pretty happy with Malachi Branham's performance with the San Antonio Spurs this year. Zach Collins, our backup center, and he has been a solid backup, especially lately. It seems like he's really starting to come into his own and just find a good niche. That being said, I did give Zach Collins a B. He has struggled with foul trouble a lot this year. At other points in the season, he has struggled with turnovers. But overall, your backup center going to shoot 55% from the field, 37% from the arc, give you about 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists, 2 to 3 assists. Yeah, he's a darn good passer too, sneaky passer. Is it him and Doug McDermott that have a little pick and roll at the back door? He's good at finding guys. Well, he's a good passer. So Zach Collins as a backup center, I thought has done a pretty admirable job, and got one more year left in his contract. So let's see what happens with him. Keldon Johnson. This was a tough one, Spurs fans, but Keldon is our top scorer, averaging 21.2 points per game. One thing that jumps out for me is when you look at his statistics, the shooting percentages are down. 42% from the field, 35% from beyond the arc, and we've seen him be much better, including earlier in the season. But Keldon ran into the slump of all slumps and had about a not week long, 7-game stretch where he was shooting like 30% from the field, 25% from beyond there. He's just a really tough slump, and he was being a high volume shooter during this slump and brought his scoring average from 24 to 25 points per game down to 21. His defense is hit or miss. Overall, though, I'm going to give him a B. The second half of the season, hopefully plays like he did earlier in the season where he's shooting about 50% from the field, 40% from beyond the arc. We know he can do it. He can be our guy. It's just, maybe that slump was due to the teams, how they were defending us and just putting more, with Keldon being our top scorer, guarding him differently, not giving him room to get into the paint, having the defense collapse, but also just making sure that he's not open at all in three-point land. But I do have faith Kelvin's going to finish the season better than he did. I think the second half will be better than his first half. He's made adjustments and he's been much better as of late. We do have two Johnsons on this team. Stanley Johnson. Did I give you guys Kelvin's grade? It was a B. Stanley Johnson, I gotta go with an A plus. What? A plus, TSR? Are you nuts? Listen, performance wise, he's been very solid for the Spurs. Good defense. But my expectations were zero for Stanley Johnson. My expectations were actually negative for him. When I saw him get signed, I didn't know a thing about him. I just pulled him up on my basketball reference and was like, wow, this guy can't shoot to save his life. But what a pleasant surprise this has been for our San Antonio Spurs. Again, zero expectations, and he's exceeded them significantly and has found himself a nice little role with our Spurs. Will he be here long term? Only pop in the front office? No, but so far, Stanley Johnson, good job this year. Just spoiler alert, he actually has my highest grade out of this report card. He's really impressed me. And yeah, hey, two Johnsons are better than one. Up next, Trey Jones. This is going to surprise you guys because I've been critical of Trey Jones as our starting point guard. That being said, I gave him an A minus. He has been solid as a starting point guard. He's a very pesky defender at times. Sure, there's mismatches because of his size. He's shown an ability to drive into the paint and finish, even though he is, I guess, vertically challenged, if you will, for the NBA. It's a lot of players are taller. He still finds a way to make those layups, and I've been very impressed this year. The biggest knock I have on Trey Jones is his three-point shooting. He had been shooting the three pretty well to start the year, the first couple of weeks, and then it just kind of tapered off, and now he's shooting only 27%. And that poor three-point shooting has brought down his overall field goal percentage. But for a first-year starter, that was a second-round pick, 13.3 points per game, 6.4 assists. Kudos to him. He could be our starting point guard in the future. That's going to really depend on the NBA draft. If the Spurs do draft Scoot Henderson, then Trey Jones either goes to back up with the Spurs, where I think he'll still do very well, or try to land as a starter on another team. Romeo Langford. This is another surprise. I got to give Romeo Langford an A because my expectations were none. I just expected Romeo Langford to be injured again and just miss tons of games because that's been his career. And I hate saying that, but Romeo Langford's career has just been one injury after another. And now he's finally starting to show us this year, showing not only the San Antonio Spurs, but the NBA, that he has that five-star recruit ability that he had in high school. By the way, he's a surprisingly really good offensive rebounder for a guard. Very good defender, and he's getting a lot of starts for the Spurs lately because of all the injuries we've had. And you know what? Much like Stanley Johnson, this is a player I looked down on the roster and was like, whatever. I mean, they're here. Hope they do well, but I don't expect anything, and he has exceeded expectations. So kudos to him. That's a great picture. Doug McDermott. You know what? I got to give Doug. This might surprise you guys as well. I'm going to give him an A. Yeah, I know he doesn't play any defense at all. But we brought Doug McDermott to the San Antonio Spurs for two reasons. Three-point shooting, which he has given us, and movement without the ball, causing spacing. And Doug is great at just continuously moving, causing his defender to chase him and help spacing on the floor. He's a very valuable asset to the team, valuable asset. And I don't know if the Spurs are going to keep him or if they're going to try to trade him before the All-Star break because he's going to be a valuable asset to any team he goes to off the bench with that three-point shooting and movement. So, Doug, good job this year. Like what I'm seeing from you. Turtle power, Jakob Pertl. Jakob, one of the top 10 centers in the NBA at this point in his career, and I got to give Jakob an A as well. You might be saying, TSR, this is a lot of high grades you're giving out. The Spurs have a losing record. Well, this is based on individual performance. They're still having trouble playing team defense, and the turnovers just as a whole for the whole team have been a problem all year. So if I had to give the team defense a rating, I would be a D minus, working at capacity, but not at grade level. So there you go. The defense has been a big nightmare for us this year. Anyway, Jakob Pertl. The one stat that stands out to me big time when I look at Jakob Pertl is, man, he's finally getting his free throw percentage come around. He's shooting 57%, which is much better than when he's been the last few years for the San Antonio Spurs. But Jakob, one of our best defenders on the team, maybe the best defender. He is great with the pick and roll. He can score at times, being throughout 20 points, just here and there. He's a very good rebounder, a very good passer. You see the 3 assists per game. While the blocks are down a little bit, 1.1. Overall, this has been a great year for Jakob Pertl, and this is an audition year. He's a free agent after this season, so this is the year to have your best year in the NBA. So Jakob, props to you. Josh Richardson, kind of kind of in the Doug McDermott area. I gave Josh Richardson a B plus because he had a bit of a slump here and there throughout the year, but he is a player off the bench that can score, can defend. He's been better as of lately. And he's much like Doug McDermott, one of those players I look at and say, you do contribute a lot off the bench. You're one of our best scorers off the bench, along with Doug. Is he going to stay with the Spurs, or is he going to get traded before the All Star break? And I would like to keep at least one vet on the bench. As I kind of think about it, it'd be good to have somebody out there that's a seasoned vet with the San Antonio Spurs. And that might be either Doug or Josh, or the Spurs can move on from both. Who knows? I have no idea what to expect, what's going to happen in the next few weeks before the trade deadline. But Josh Richardson having a good year off the bench. Wow. I was so excited when I saw this signing. When I saw I believe he was waived by OKC, and I looked up Isaiah Roby, did a little research on him. Like, you know what? He's going to be a solid backup point forward, power forward for us. Heck, maybe he even starts at power forward for the San Antonio Spurs, and Jeremy Sohan backs him up. Timeout. Nope. Isaiah Roby has been, for me, a disappointment. Just can't seem to find a spot in this lineup. He may be leading the team in air balls as well, and he's an abysmal free throw shooter. Terrible. I'm giving this an F. I'm sorry, Isaiah. If for somehow you ever see this video, I hate giving it. This is like the only really bad grade I'm giving out, but it's just not fit at all. And I would not be shocked if he's not a San Antonio Spur come season end, or if the Spurs trade such and such player and put Roby in there as a package deal, and it just hasn't worked out at all. And he's a talented guy, but for whatever reason, here in San Antonio, it's just not working. Jeremy, you don't mess with the Sohan. You know what? I'm giving A minus. Maybe that's an overgrade. I don't know. Yes, he makes mistakes here and there. He's a terrible 3-point shooter. He's found a niche with free throw shooting with his one-handed free throw. Hey, I don't care as long as the ball goes in. You throw it. You rub it on your butt and throw it in. I don't care as long. It's kind of gross, but as long as the ball gets in the rim, then fine. So whatever. I like what I'm seeing from him for a teenage rookie in his first year. And I know there's other rookies that same age that are outplaying him that were higher draft picks, but for a ninth overall pick, seeing his hustle, loyalty, and defense, hustle with loyalty, respect. I'm making a joke there, but he shows his hustle and ability to defend. He does not back away from a challenge. He does a little bit of everything. He's probably our best finisher at the rim already. If he can get the shooting together, the mid-range game of the three-point game, he doesn't have to be a 40% three-point shooter. Just okay, like league average, 33, 34%. Man, he's going to be something special. I'm very excited to see where he goes over the next few years and how his game progresses, because there's a lot to be happy about. I mean, Pops go out there and run point. Okay, yeah, sure, he's failed it at times, but whatever the Spurs throw at him, goes out there and he does it. And seems like he's got a great work ethic and attitude, and that could take him a long way in the NBA and with our San Antonio Spurs. So Jeremy Sohan, great rookie season from you so far. Devin Vassell, man, just I love what I'm seeing out of Devin right now. The biggest issue Devin has is his own health. He just had a procedure done on his knee. I don't know how long he's going to be out. I'm hearing weeks, maybe to the end of the season. It's all over the place. Will the Spurs shut him down? I don't know, but he's our second leading scorer at 19.4 points per game and ability to create a shot. His defense has been a little on and off here and there throughout the season, so that's why I'm giving Devin an A minus. But overall, can he stay healthy? He's missed 12 games so far. He's going to miss a whole bunch more games moving forward. If he does sit out the rest of the year, the Spurs just say, hey, you know what? Let's get that knee. Just keep it, let's not take any chances. I hope that doesn't stunt his progress that he's made throughout the season, because when he's on and Kelman are on, this is a very difficult team, I think, to deal with. And when all five are, if you look at our starting lineup, yes, we don't have an elite player in there, but when you look top to bottom, all our guys, when they're playing their best basketball, we can beat a lot of the teams in the NBA. The problem is the inconsistencies, the bad team defense, the turnovers. We haven't had too many games this year where everybody was on. But when they're all on, they're pretty darn good, which we did see at the start of the year when they were 5-2. And then it just, the Titanic hit, and there it went. And Devin Vassell having a good year. And then, he hasn't really played much, but I just want to give him a little nod here. You saw him at the beginning. Blake Wesley, when is he coming back? Is he coming back this season? Only played in 2 games and really just got Spurs fans excited, myself included, in the preseason. His ability he's lightning, very quick. He's very lengthy. I think he's about 6'4", 6'5", but he's got, ridiculously long limbs. And hopefully he can get back into the rotation at some point. Maybe the Spurs are holding him out to the All-Star break. I don't have a timeline. I'd like to see him play sooner than later, because I think there's good things, hopefully in his future as a backup point guard for the Spurs, maybe. And next year, too, becomes our starting point guard over Trey Jones. But he's got to play for us to know that. And that's all I got, Spurs fans. So far, I mean, the title, the thumbnail said the perfect tank. I don't think we're tanking at all. It's just we don't have the talent quite there yet. The inconsistencies, the poor team defense, there's just a lot of things that are working against the Spurs, but they are competing. And as of late, they're being very competitive in games, which is what I'm looking forward to. And we're still going to get probably a top 4 pick, maybe one or two. We'll see. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I haven't done one of these recaps in a while. If you disagree with the grades, by all means, let me know. Like, dude, you're nuts. Calvin, I'm giving an F. Okay, whatever. I mean, it's just an opinion. None of this is fact. This is just what you're seeing from the team, and I like what I'm seeing. And I'll still be here, win, lose, or tie. Go Spurs, go until die. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, go Spurs, go.